Welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. We're your hosts, Dan and Andy. Today is November 28th, 2021. How you doing today, Andy?
Good. How about yourself?
Good. We're on season 3, episode number 3 here. I see you got the tree in the background. It's festive. Thanksgiving is complete. We're ready for Christmas holidays.
That's right. Getting all set for it. Getting it out of the way and done.
Decorations are up. The fall sports are basically all done, almost.
Yeah.
We're going to be getting in the full swing for winter sports. But boy, we've got prep football, we've got college, NFL football, baseball news, little USFL news today.
High school hockey got started over the weekend.
Hockey, we've got a lot of things going on. We got some. I'm sure you've got some concerts and music. I've got the album review of the week, and we've also got the trivia question.
Trivia question, sir. I know I've been waiting since last week for this one, so fire away.
What I've got here is an interesting trivia question. It came up with some baseball stuff we were looking at for baseball, Hall of Fame kind of ballot information. But Barry Bonds is one of only 2 people that has more than 300 stolen bases and 400 home runs. Is that right? Is it 400 home runs?
I think that was it. Let me double check my.
Here we go. I've got
message here.
300 home runs and 400 stolen bases.
That's what it was. Yep.
That's a rare feat. He's only one of 2 people that have done that. The question for today's trivia question is, who's the other person? 300, more than 300 home runs and more than 400 stolen bases in a career at the major league level. Interesting combination. Only 2 people have ever done it.
Well, spoiler for everybody, the reason we came up, or how this question came up, we're looking over Hall of Fame ballots for baseball as we're prepping for our show with Rhino from Town Ball Tuesday, which you'll hear us drop Tuesday, that conversation. But that's where this discussion came up. So, but I
like the trivia question. I'm sure the listeners will enjoy it too, but we'll cover the answer here later in the show.
Yes. Let me do my production work here. Intern Jeff, get going here. All right, present. All right, starting out on the soapbox. Something came up the other day with all the high school sports going on. Some stuff came up. This is not the soapbox part, isn't, or I got no problem with a pro football game for the Chicago Bears. You don't like Matt Nagy, you want to chant fire Nagy at a Bears game, that's cool. Not at his son at his high school football game. That's classless, my opinion. Leave the kid out of it. It's not the kid's fault his old man can't coach football. And if he can, who are we to say? It's a high school football game. The coaches had to come out, or principals had to come apologize. Coaches apologized. Yes, they're high school kids as the fans chant stupid stuff, but pretty sure their old man got them juiced up to say it too. You want to chant fire Nagy, do it at the Bears game, not at his kid's high school game. That's not much of a soapbox time, but just something like that kind of just rubbed me wrong a little bit there. It's like, his kid has nothing to do with it. You're kind of wasting your time.
Yeah, that's pretty low.
Boys hockey started. Now, I don't have any scores. There was like 60 games over the weekend. And I know these aren't very minimal, but we just had to see some rankings here already. Just kind of get the season started off right here. Kind of wanted to put this one up too on the first rankings for the year, just to kind of come back to later in the year, see what the first rankings were, then come back to it later. So here's some names we'll probably see a lot here in 2A. Maple Grove, Cretan Durham Hall, Moorhead, Hill Murray. Same cast of characters we hear every year, Andover, Lakeville South, Edina, Bedilton, Margaret, Grand Rapids, and Wayzata. And the 1A for boys was Hermantown, EGF, War Road. There's, like I said, the same group we're going to hear all year long. Delano, Duluth, Denfield. There's Breck up there. So we're going to hear these schools all year. Just wanted to kind of see where they go. The gals, they've all got some games under their belts for 2A. Andover, Edina, and Tonka top 3, which will switch it around. I'm guessing that's going to probably be your top 3. If not, those 3 will be in the top 5 for sure all year. Stillwater, Benilde, Hill Murray, Zeta, Gentry Academy, Holy Family, and Centennial Spring Lake Park. 1A War Road, Proctor Hermantown, Orono, South St. Paul, Simile, Mount Westonka. That's where any kids at Watertown Mayor want to play. That's where they go. So that's our friends at Mount Westonka. Academy of Holy Angels running off top 10 for the gals. We kind of jump around here. We're going to Bison Sports for football. They did not play this weekend because of the tournaments for FCS, but they will be playing Southern Illinois. As you see, they beat South Dakota in the first round of their bracket. So it'll be the Bison on the 4th at 2:30 against Southern Illinois. The Bison were the 2 seed overall, so it means they should get home games all the way through to the finals, barring on any changes like that. But look at the draw. I think they got no problem going back to Texas for the finals. That's just the homer in me there. But next week, the 4th, the Saturday, 2:30. Bison Baseball released their schedule. Just here's a few dates for us to look at. March 8th and April 5th. Down here in the cities, the one game's going to be at the Bank on March 8th. April 5th, I think they're going to probably wait and see what the weather looks like, how they want to do that. Then later in April, they'll be up in Fargo, playing outdoors against St. Thomas, part of the St. Thomas wants to beat the big boys, kind of. So they're with the Bison in the Summit League. So there's Friday, Saturday, Sunday there. Bison basketball is also underway. The boys are 4-2 right now. Last 2 wins there against Heartland and Idaho. And coming up against at Cretan, and then Northland College comes to town. So there's some games there. Bison boys are off to a good start. Bison gals took care of Dickinson State. The next 2 are at Kansas State tomorrow, and then Bradley on the 4th. Gals are off to a 2-3 start. Beavs, and some basketball numbers for them from last week. They split down in Florida. Got a win and a loss down there in that little tournament. They'll be back home this weekend, Thursday, Saturday, Duluth, and then at St. Cloud State. 3-2 so far in the year for the boys. Gals did not do so well in Florida. They'll be coming home for Duluth and then at St. Cloud State. Gals are at 500 right now. Had those 2 bad losses in Florida for their little tournament there. It's a Southeastern tournament. And there's the football score. We're just going to kind of pretend it was a learning experience for the boys. Let's put it that way. Third quarter got a little out of hand there. But they all became better men after it. We'll just kind of find the positives here. Beaver hockey. Boys split Arizona State. They'll be back home against St. Thomas. 8-6 right now. And the Beavs are ranked 20th in the country. So go Beavs. The gals, they did pretty good in Missouri. Swept. They're at 4-8-2. So get them back on the track, hopefully, as they'll be going to St. Cloud State over the weekend. Gophers, Gopher hockey. Here we go. The boys split with the Sioux, or former Sioux, or North Dakota. Then they got Michigan. Michigan is ranked 4th. They got one number 1 vote in the last rankings. Gophers are at 11. So should be a good matchup this weekend. And I think Michigan, it's at Michigan. I think they kind of owe us a favor. I mean, we beat Wisconsin, so now Michigan gets to play Iowa in football. So they kind of owe us one, I think. They might have to forfeit, and it's the least they could do. Here we go. The gals, they split last weekend in the Smashville Classic, or Showcase. Their one loss was to number 8 Colgate. Then they got number 1 Wisconsin, at Wisconsin over the weekend. As Wisconsin's 1, Ohio State 2, Gophers are 3. So should be a good matchup there this weekend in Wisconsin. Volleyball. Gals ended strong. Penn State and Maryland wins. The seedings are being drawn right now on ESPNU. I checked right before we started recording here on Sunday night. I didn't say anything out yet. So We'll have that out either tonight or first thing tomorrow on our Facebook page. Where they're seated. 28 nice regular season finish. I see the Gophers finished 10th in the last poll. So they should get a good draw. If it kind of goes by basketball, there should be a 3 seed in there somewhere. Gopher basketball. Boys continue to win 5-0. Just let's relax. They're 5-0. Let's not bring on Gonzaga and North Carolina and all the big shooters, Kansas. No, let's relax. We're 5-0. Let's enjoy it. But this is for a young team like this, these early season wins. This is what we need to break the bubble and get in barely into the tournament. So it's these games that are crucial. These were huge wins for us. The ACC Big Ten Challenge coming up on Tuesday. That's always fun games to watch. I've always enjoyed those since I started that. We drew Pittsburgh. We go to Pittsburgh to play. So that'll be on Tuesday and Sunday at Mississippi State. The Gals, on the other hand, 5-3. Had a tough time in the Battle of Atlantis. They did get their one win in the middle there against Syracuse. They got Bradley and University of Texas San Antonio coming up at home. They beat Bradley on Friday. And I did not have a score yet from the Texas San Antonio game yet for the Gals. Then December 1st, the Gals version of the Big Ten ACC Challenge against North Carolina. So that might not be pretty. But it will be here. So be a good draw. Football. Yep, we got the Acts. We beat Wisconsin in football at home the other night, 23-13. We end the season at 8-4. That puts Iowa in our division's champion in the West to go against Michigan for the Big Ten title. That should be us going for the Big Ten title, but like I said before, Bowling Green is why we're not playing that Big Ten title game. And with us knocking out Wisconsin, who was a fairly high seed, Iowa wins this game for the Big Ten title. They're not going to jump up that high in the bracket. There will be no Big Ten team in the Bowl Championship Series. So the ACC very well could get 2 teams. Alabama and Georgia play each other for the SEC Championship. Well, if they got them at 1 and 2, it's not going to matter. They'll still put both in. So we'll see. All Elite Wrestling. A little wrestling dabble here for a little bit. Their next big show, winter is coming, they call it, is December 15th. Garland, Texas. That's the one where they said they're going to mention who's in it in their format for the Owen Hart Cup. So that's Wednesday, December 15th. That's one of the regular shows. So we shall see how that all gets announced. That's very exciting news there for the group of All Elite Wrestling. Kraken. I don't have any wild news. It's a little Kraken news today from one of their Instagram pages. Seattle Kraken, who weren't doing well this year, have defeated the top 3 teams in the league all in the last week. So Sunday, Wednesday, Tuesday, they beat the Capitals, the Hurricanes, and the Panthers. So for the last week, we're talking about how they were the worst start for an expansion team since Ottawa. They come out the next week and beat the top 3 teams in the conference. So good job there for the Kraken. USFL has announced their locations and their teams for their second turn here. And there they are, the Tampa Bay Bandits, NOLA, New Orleans, Houston Gamblers. A lot of the names from the teams before they kept. New Jersey Generals, the Pittsburgh Maulers, the Michigan Panthers, Birmingham Stallions, and Philadelphia Stars. And a lot of them, they got ahead of this real cool, which is really neat. The Twitter account for all these is USFL Bandits, USFL Generals, so whatever your name is, USFL, then your team name. So I lucked out with that. That'd be kind of neat. Did you have anything else about the USFL, Dan?
Well, it'll be interesting now with this coming back after how many years. And once again, it's spring football, so they play in the spring, so they don't compete with the NFL, but they do compete with the Canadian Football League, the XFL, and the Spring League. Well, the XFL has announced they're not going to start until 2023 again. They're on a break. They went that first year. They took a couple of years off to reorganize. Now they're going to come back. So I think they are going to let this go for a year, see how the USFL shakes out. And the Canadian Football League is really watching this as well, because it looks like there's going to be some partnership once they get a couple, like in 2023. They may integrate together. I saw a couple sites, some podcasts that people are putting to this. They're all kind of centralized. They're kind of under the same umbrella, not by ownership, but they're making it all kind of spring football.
Yep.
And it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But this starts in the spring with these games.
Yep. So it'll be fun to watch. And it's the way I look at it too. It's not really all the backup quarterbacks and guys who got injured and rehabbing. It's not a lot of that. Might be a lot of Division II college guys maybe that didn't get drafted. Canada want one more shot, or regular Division I college guys got one more shot. You're not going to see a lot of guys. Tommy Maddox last time the XFL was kind of an exception to the rule, but maybe you see a few guys that, I was cut. No, I still got a little gas in the tank. Let me show you. You might be some of those guys in there too, so we'll see. But you're not going to see all your backup quarterbacks playing here to stay loose. No. Unless no one signs them and they're trying to fight for a contract, you won't see any contracted backup players here rehoning their skills, we'll say. Major League Baseball, speaking of like spring league and spring balls, for the first time in his career, Albert Pujols will be playing winter ball this year in the Dominican Winter League. Because he wants to show, like I just said, he's still got some gas in the tank. Kind of like what we talked about for Tuesday's show coming up with Rhino. We don't know if they can collective bargaining if they're going universal DH. If they do, there's a double the amount of teams that Pujols could go with for a DH. He stayed in the National League with the Dodgers, and he still played at first. I think he played third one game too. He still got it, but he would be a nice guy to see here in the Midwest.
Perfect candidate for a DH.
Yep. And he's still got a lot to offer, I think. His knowledge for a young team or player, kind of like what Nelson Cruz was here with us with Sano. He was kind of took him under his wing. The Mets. Mets did a little Black Friday shopping coming up. We'll talk about that too, but they had to make up some money to do it. So the Los Angeles Angels have signed left-handed pitcher Aaron Loup to a 2-year deal. Looks like the Mets have interest in Twins left-handed pitcher Tyler Rogers, so that's going to kind of replace Loup there, I think. No official word if we got Tyler yet. I say we. If the Mets got Tyler yet, I think he's kind of replacing that position. But here we go. From the A's, the Mets, all pending physical. This is all that the Mets are going to put out these pictures like this. It's pretty official. Mark Hanna from the A's, outfielder, first base. Escobar, ex-Twin.
Oh, yes.
He's going to be with the Mets. He's got Jose Reyes' old number there. And Starling Marte from the A's. Now, the Mets have been looking to get him since when Starling Marte was back with the Pirates. The Mets have been knocking on his door. So before he got with the Oakland, the Mets were pursuing him. So he's been on their radar for a while. These three guys, according to the source, the Mets agreed to a 4-year term, $78 million with Marte. Cannon's a $26.5 million with a 3rd-year option, and Escobar's for $20 million, 2 years. All 3 deals were pending physicals. The team has not acknowledged them because they're not official. So you can't find them on the Mets website. This is from Sports Channel New York. I got these pictures from. So the website does not have them listed in as positions yet, but if they're going to go this far out, your pending physicals, it's pretty sure they're going to have them. With a lot of this set, we got a couple outfielders. You got Marte, who's there. Okay, first of all, Escobar, he can play second or third. So does that mean you get rid of Javi Baez? Javi's going to want a lot of cake. He's going to want a lot of the money. You just paid a bunch to Francisco Lindor. Chris Bryant is still out there. So between Bryant and Javi Baez, I think the Mets will get one of the two. Bryant very well can go to the outfield. The game with Bryant, like we said, if you go universal DH, you got Pete Alonso could DH for a couple of days and still play first. Bryant could DH first outfield. That's what I think the Mets are shooting for here. Some of these outfielders are getting on. We talked last week, the Twins, with their overabundance of outfielders. The Mets are kind of getting that way too, because I think they're looking at the universal DH this year, which great, play for it. Have guys you can rotate so you're staying fresh, but if your knees tweaking you, your shoulders bugging you, DH for a day, rest it a little bit. You're in that middle of a long trip without a day off. You can rest guys. I think that's what they're looking at because injuries kind of hurt them last year, not making excuses. But they had great starters, but they had no one to back them up. So that said, and also these other signings, Michael Conforto, I look to him to be gone from the Mets. The Mets will not be signing him. Just my opinion. I've not had a call from the Mets saying that. Also, the Mets signed outfielder Nick Plummer to a one-year deal from the Cardinals AA, AAA system. Another outfielder who should be up next year. So there's another name they've got. And like I said, the Tigers have been talking to Javi Baez. So the Tigers looking to open up their checkbook. Heard some other names over that way too. So we'll see how that plays out for the Detroit Motor City Kitties, as we call them. And also on the Mets site, here's some of the top 5 prospects coming up and when they expect them. They had 2 right-handed pitchers as the top 5 coming up, 23 and 24. But for 2022, they have 2 guys coming up, third baseman and shortstop, which again, is there room for Javi Baez? You can get these 2 up, plus the other 3 we just mentioned, for about the same price as Javi Baez. So that's what I think they're looking at right now. Good young talent that could be here a while. Maybe they won't be playing for the World Series next year, but in a couple years, let's get this team together, get to know each other, play together. We'll go from there. But the one pitcher they got down in A+ right now for 23, that JT Ginn, look for him to just remember that name, JT Ginn. In a couple years, he's going to be something. Twins, cross off all your names on your outfield list, Dan, from last week. La Tortuga's gone. Out of here. See you, bye.
La Tortuga.
He went to Twitter and said, hey, it's been fun, but he's accepting it's part of the deal. The Twins also put out simply no room for him. They're going to call up Nick Gordon and number 8 prospect Jose Miranda, who played first, second, and third in the minors last year. So they got 2 guys coming up. There was no look for Asadillo at catcher. That wasn't working out. And say what you will, he was this generation's Al Newman, kind of. You can plug him in. He'll give you some decent defense, but he's going to bat 215, 220. He's not going to light it up. He's not going to be that big key pinch hitter you need in the 9th inning. He was just a nice fill-in to give someone the day off. So wish him the best. Hope he could be a 5th outfielder somewhere or a 5th infielder for some team. He's good. That's what he's good at. But he got too much playing time. I think that's what hurt him this year. It kind of showed his weaknesses. And here's another stat I found interesting. Teams with the most postseason losses. They figured the Yankees and Dodgers and Braves to be up there because they've been in so many. Below the bottom of that list, the Twins with 14 series losses. That kind of surprised me. But then I remembered the 90s. Where it was the A's or the Yankees drumming us in the first round all the time. So we had those good teams with Morneau and Hunter, but we just couldn't get out of that first round or that 1-and-in type series, So I kind of got our number up there a bit, but hey, we're up there anyway. We're on a list. Now we move to what I got for the songs part of the show. I don't have a lot, just a couple things here. One, we talked about Kid Rock's new song and album last week. Well, I guess Weird Al Yankovic had to put on Twitter, to everybody that's congratulating me right now on my new Kid Rock parody video. Let me clarify. That's not me. It's actually Kid Rock. So
that's a very good tweet.
That you gotta love Al. But wow. And also the Nuge. New album coming out April 29th, but he's got a new single out now, Come and Take It. A very Nugent-esque song. I can get it on your streaming outlets. I suggest it's good for a good listen. The Nuge. You gotta love him. And you know what? I really couldn't go after that. It was the Nuge. I gotta stop right there. How do you continue after Nugent for music news? You stop there. That's what I got, sir. You got any other sports stuff to add before we get to the trivia answer?
Yes. U of M Gophers football with the big win over Wisconsin. It was huge. Like you said, they finished 8-4. They could have been 10-2. Bowling Green lost. The Illinois lost at home.
Yep.
They could be 10-2 right now, and really.
And those two big losses are both at home.
They both were at home against, I don't want to say poor opponents, but not strong, certainly not strong teams.
Winnable games.
Games that they should have easily won, if not blown out the other team. But it's going to hurt them. Now, they are bowl eligible. They're going to be in a bowl game. They have 8 wins. They're going to be probably playing that last week of December, I think. 28th, 29th, 30th, New Year's Eve, maybe. I don't think they're going to be in a New Year's Day bowl game at all with an 8-4 record. But we'll see how that goes. Now, Tanner Morgan announced that he's going to come back for his 6th season. I repeat, 6th. Remember, they gave everyone a free year for the pandemic last year. And so he redshirted his first year. This will be his 6th year. He's going to come back next year. The guy's going to be like 28 years old or something. 24. But that is unheard of. Now, I think one of the reasons that he's going to do that is Mohammed Ibrahim said he's coming back also as the running back after this year off. And he's not going to declare to go to pros. He's going to come back and play. And I think that helped that decision and maybe this big win. PJ Fleck's team is, doing well now, even though they're 8-4. It's kind of I don't want to say a big year, but that win was huge, but they're still 8-4. They'll go to a pretty good sized bowl. It could be the Music City Bowl. It could be, I don't know what they're going to go to. It's not going to be New Year's Day, I don't believe. But they will be in. Now, Sunday, a week from today, they're going to announce the bowl lineup, December 5th. And so all that will be announced once these games on Saturday, the conference title games all get done will be Saturday. So they'll announce, I think some are Saturday, some are Sunday, but they'll announce the bowl lineup, which will be fun. Now, keep in mind, for the old school folks out there, and Andy, you and I are kind of in this, but there's 41 bowl games this year, 41. I'm a fan when there's 10, 15 bowl games. Love that. But 41.
That's 82 teams.
That's 82 teams are going to be playing in a bowl game. Now, right now, there's 83 teams that are eligible. So one will be on the outside looking in on that bubble, but 83 is eligible. Everyone else will be in a bowl game of some way, shape, or form. Now, the one that I'm looking forward to is the Holiday Bowl, San Diego. They're moving that in San Diego to Petco Park, the baseball stadium. They're going to play that in the baseball stadium, kind of like what they do Yankees Stadium for baseball. They have the Pinstripe Bowl for college football. Target Field has held football in the past. I think Boston Red Sox have, but San Diego Padres home field. Petco is going to be. They're going to have the Holiday Bowl there every year at Petco Field in San Diego, downtown. Lovely downtown San Diego. So that'll be interesting to watch. And
I just looked it up. There are 125 Division I football teams.
82 make it out of 125.
2/3.
2/3 make it.
So remember that in March, we're going over the basketball one, when 64 make it out of, I think basketball's got a little more than that, but that's only half the teams in basketball.
Isn't there 300 in basketball?
Yeah. So just remember that when we come in March and everyone's complaining about the basketball tournaments, who makes it in.
And every one of these big trophies are given out and whatnot. But, like you said, 2/3 of the teams in college football that have a program make a bowl game if you want.
Yeah, basically, if you have a 500 record, you're in.
Yes. The U of M, okay, so we talked about, Buxton, Twins. They signed Buxton's that big deal. A lot of that is incentive laced as well, heavy incentives. If he's considered, if he wins the MVP award, I think it's a $5 million bonus next year. And if he wins the MVP the following year or his second, if he starts repeating, there's some of those built into there as well if he wins the MVP.
I think we're pretty safe on that one. Check not getting written out.
Yes. So they're really beefing it up, but a lot of those are, I wouldn't call them unattainable, but they're really a stretch. But they got him locked up. My next midweek episode, I'll cover the full outfield position for the Twins. I've got my list going down to even the rookie leagues. The Twins have 30 outfielders, and Buxton now is one of them locked in. But they got a lot. They got a lot out there, and I think there's 8 of them in the top 30 prospect. So a lot coming up through the pipeline. But boy, Buxton will be there now. It looks like a 7-year deal. Let's see.
You have the high school football scores?
I got high school football. Here we go. The prep bowl was 2-day event here after Thanksgiving, Friday and Saturday. And here is the winners. I'll share that screen here. Here we go. 6A. Remember, this is the big schools in this is in the 6A. And that is, there's only 16 teams and everyone makes it, and they just have a big old tournament. Every team makes it in 6A to the state. Lakeville South won over Maple Grove.
That was a good game. 0-0 at halftime for that game.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna remember too that Eden Prairie got beat along the way. St. Michael Albertville got beat along the way. But Maple Grove really looks tough. Lakeville South, of course, always in the hunt. Mankato West won the 5A. Hutchinson, local team here, 4A, beating Castle and Natcherville. And then Castle Cokato, also very local, over Plainville, Millville. And then Chatfield. Chatfield had to go with the backup quarterback, Andy, correct?
Yeah, and that was a good game too. Their backup came in, brought him from behind to win in the semifinals. Backup quarterback in this game. Tail end of that game,
Okay, say it again, Andy. I can't hear. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I missed that the last 10 seconds. It kind of went black.
The Chatfield game at Central area went for 2 points. They thought they made it. They reviewed. They took it off.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
They had the 2 points. They put it on the scoreboard and then reviewed it and took it off.
Yep. So very hard game to watch, because you're back and forth, adrenaline popping. So fun and hard to watch. Yep.
And Chatfield had the senior quarterback. I believe he was a senior, was ineligible to play because the semifinal game, he was flagged twice for player misconduct. I think he had 2 penalties in that semifinal game. And the rules say if you're flagged twice in a game for player misconduct, or basically, let's call it a major penalty, you're ineligible to play the subsequent game. And the subsequent game after the semifinals is, of course, the championship game. So his parents went and filed an injunction with the district court, to say that this is unfair. That can they make an exception for the senior quarterback to play that led them to the state? The judge ruled it down and says, no, I'm not going to get into that. And so they didn't let him play. He sat the bench. The backup quarterback here led them to the championship. Now, Class A, we follow that. I follow that on that championship game against Minneota. Very good game. One of the best games I've seen in football all season was that game right there. And then Leroy,
our guest from last week, Chris Guston, made a nice one-handed catch out of bounds there at the goal line during that game.
It was an excellent game, back and forth. And then 9-man Leroy Ostrander, 58-8 over Fertile Beltrami. So that rounds out all 7 teams in high school football crowned champions. Volleyball was done 2 weeks ago. Football's done. Soccer, all fall sports now are done for high school, is it not?
Yeah, one shout out to Fertile Beltrami. Yeah, they lost 58-8, but the article I read, because they're up there up north. Beltrami, Fertile, they're up there. To get the fans down, the bus companies did not charge the fans anything for the ride down. They provided free buses on the way down. So
interesting.
So a little team got that with a bunch of fans there. Unfortunately, they lost by 50 points, but you know what? A little good news for them anyway. They at least had fans there, Wasn't just their little brothers in the crowd.
Well, I've got a trivia question answer.
Yes.
Trivia question. The question is, Barry Bonds is on the ballot for the Hall of Fame. He is one of two players in Major League Baseball history with a career to hit over 300 home runs and steal over 400 bases in his career. The question was, who's the other player? The answer is his father, Bobby Bonds.
Bobby Bonds.
Bobby Bonds and Barry Bonds are the only two in Major League Baseball history that have over 300 home runs and 400 stolen bases each in their career. I never knew that.
I thought women's like a Ty Cobb or someone from back in the day when they were Mr. Everything for all the stats, or someone was snuck in there like a Ricky Henderson with 302 home runs, or someone you went to follow for the home run part,
That's amazing. That's a trivia question. Hope you liked it. I'm not sure if too many people even got that one right.
Right. Well, because when you hear 400 and 300, you don't think, well, who had 800 home runs? So you think who was in that just over 300 range? Who was in that just over 400 range?
That's not a lot of company anyway, but only two when you do the math and the combination of those two. Very rare.
The album of the week. Sure. What have we been listening to on our album of the week?
Album of the week. Here we go. I'll share the album. Sure. It's Psychotic Supper was the third studio album by heavy metal band Tesla. Psychotic Supper. Here's the album cover. Third band by American glam metal band Tesla. Released 1991. The album peaked at number 13 on the Billboard 200. Certified platinum by the RIAA, November 1993. Platinum. Long album, 67 minutes, 59 seconds on this one. And we've covered some Tesla in the past, our first couple of albums. And this one actually goes platinum. This album, it's got 12 full-length songs, one short song, but it goes 68 minutes long. It actually ranks number 478 on the Rock and Roll Magazine, or Rock Hard Magazine's book of the 500 greatest rock and metal albums of all time. And I think this flies under the radar because I didn't know when I was researching this album that it was actually, that good. There's a lot of good songs on here. We'll go through it here, and I'll get into a little more of the history too of Tesla that relates to the second album cover. In fact, let me do that now. The original album cover, you may know this one, Andy. They have Tesla. They're having dinner, Psychotic Supper, with Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
And so that's the actual album. Once again, that's the kelp cover. They always go after their good songs, rock, bluesy, but they always have a couple dedicated to Mr. Tesla himself. I'll get to that here in a sec, because that gets to be some interesting information that I think that the average crowd is not aware of. But here's the album listing, the song listing. Song 1, Change in the Weather. Song 2 is Edison's Machine, Edison's Medicine. That is a direct rip on Thomas Edison, as him and Nikola Tesla were not good friends. He went after him on that song. The lyrics are very good on that. Song 3 is Don't De-Rock Me. Song 4 is Call It What You Want. That's a good one. Song 5 is Song and Emotion. That went very popular. Song 6 is Time. Song 7 is a very quick song, 58 seconds. Kind of a poem. It's called Government Personnel. And let's just say that it's kind of an anti-government song talking about corruption in the higher levels of government. Tesla was very good at pointing this kind of stuff out, going after some of these things. Song 8 is Freedom Slaves. Song 9 is Had Enough. Song 10 is What You Give. That also went very popular.
Yep.
Song 11 is Stir It Up. Song 12 is Can't Stop. Song 13 is Talk About It. about it instead of talk about it. A marijuana song there with the guys there from Tesla. The personnel, Jeff Keith, vocals, Tommy Skiach, Frank Cannon on guitars, Brian Wheat on bass, Brian Wheat, and Troy Lucetta on drums. Troy Lucetta on drums. And so how it goes is this Edison's Medicine song was very interesting. Thomas Edison was kind of a big-time inventor in the U.S.
I've heard the name.
Probably than what he should have been, I guess. But when Nikola Tesla came over and started looking for jobs after his college degree and background, he was like a super stud, very, very intelligent. Got in working with Edison. Edison decides, I'm going to create this light bulb, creates the light bulb. And that's cool, great invention, awesome. The next question was, how can we push electricity out to the cities, towns, villages? How can we push this out? We need to get it out there somehow. Light bulb isn't any good if there's no electricity leading to that. And Edison created this thing called DC, and he couldn't get it. He couldn't take it to the next level to push it in volume to get electricity out there. He says to Tesla, you can find a way to produce this to the masses and get electricity out there fast to the big volumes. I'll give you a $50,000 bonus. Well, Nikola Tesla, young guy working under the wings of Edison, works long and hard. I think he spent 6 months. Says, I'm going to come up with this thing called AC, alternating current. This is going to work. They tested it out. It worked. He's like, thank you. I can use my $50,000 now. Edison says, no, that's old businessmen talking. We're just talking to try to use things like that as inspiration to motivate you young kids. Well, that didn't go over too good with Tesla. And says, you know what, I'll go find other things to do. And the government ended up using his work, but they kind of time was short. The biography on Tesla is a man out of time. And that's part of that lyric, man out of time, man out of time. Time was running thin. The US government came in, pushed all this out, gave Edison all the credit, made millions of dollars. The Tesla didn't have much credit at all. He was known as a mad scientist, a madman, and really got screwed over. This lyrics of that song really go into that. What happened there? What happened behind the scenes? And Tesla was also pushing this whole free energy thing too. Free. We could make energy, electricity, for free. But when the government got involved with Edison, they said, no, we want to get something that we can charge people. What can we do to charge? What can we do to bill the public, bill the companies, bring in some cash? They said, let's use Edison's deal and start billing companies for electricity, make some real money. And that's what Tesla is about. They do a lot of songs about his history and the background of what's going on with one of the greatest scientific minds of our time. And you see Edison credited with a lot of stuff, but boy, Tesla was leaps and bounds above this guy. And it's too bad, but it's Tesla's doing a good job in the music, getting information out there to wake up the general public. Now, the album cover. I just went over the album cover. I almost forgot. Nick Egan did the album cover. Both of them in this case. He did them both. He also did Mechanical Resonance for Tesla, their other album. But Nick Egan was very good at album design covers, not in the rock era, but music in general. He did a bunch of album covers, design work for In Excess, Belinda Carlisle, and Duran Duran. Little tidbit, there could be a possible trivia question down the road, but Nick Egan, very good with his album covers, and Tesla hired him for these two, did them for the two albums, this one, Psychotic Supper, and Mechanical Resonance. That's all I've got for album review this week.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, I did not know. I knew Tesla got political, a little bit political on their songs, but they didn't make them political sounding, like a 60s anti-politics song, but
yep.
They kind of got their point in there a little bit. I always respected that about them, But yeah, we got high school. Like I said, high school stuff is kicking off. Hockey's starting to go now. Basketball will be starting now pretty soon. I know a lot of these smaller schools. I heard stuff during the football. So all these small schools, most of your basketball teams on the football team. So they have like a 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning practice for basketball. Go to school all day. They go to football practice afterwards. So basketball will be starting up here pretty soon. You'll see the schools who had guys in football might be low dog that first week or two, but they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
You always get that this time of the year with the prep bowl games, where it runs so late that you get guys who are ready to get in the itch to get into the next sport, whether it's wrestling or basketball or hockey. And now the season runs late. Now you're joining up the team kind of late in the mix, but you are conditioned, you are healthy, you are in shape from the previous season, hopefully not banged up or injured too much, but will be interesting. Now, the next few weeks here for high school sports will go quick, and then we get into a lot of these tournaments, these holiday tournaments, the Christmas tournaments.
Yep. Hockey is going for their holiday tournaments. It'll be fun.
For a note, it'll be 2022.
Yes.
Please leave your comments here in the comment section, questions, also requests. If you have any requests for albums, music, things like that.
Yep.
That's all I've got for this week. Have a good week, everyone.
See you now.
See ya.